Hey, it's Kendra here. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about summer knitting options and more specifically about knitting garments like tops or tank tops, things like that. Now I have pulled up around 10 patterns that I've been looking at lately, trying to decide what to make. So I kind of want to go through them with some of the things I like or don't like, some potential concerns I see. Maybe you've got some input on if you've knit any of these or things you like about them. I always have a hard time deciding what to make or what might look good, what's worth the time, all that sort of stuff. And also if you have any yarn suggestions for that. I know a lot of people like using linens and cottons in the summer, but I'm open to wool as well, just depending on what the pattern is. Probably not like a heavyweight wool, but maybe something lighter. So I thought we'd go through these patterns on Ravelry and you can let me know your thoughts on them. So let's look at it together. I first of all am looking for something probably free. I just don't want to spend a lot on patterns right now, although I know that does cut out a lot of really nice patterns. And at the very end of this video, I will include a couple that I just already own. I know that doesn't work for everybody, but just some that are in my current running as potential options right now. But on Ravelry here, you can see I searched for free and tops, and that's the only limitations that I put on it at this point. And from here, there's just so many options and it's really hard to decide what's going to work. Also, I don't have any yarn in mind, so I would have to get some. So if I was searching for something to use a specific yarn, I could always, go through and narrow the search further. But for right now, I'm going to show you the ones I've kind of been looking at. First up, Mysterium Tea. This one I think is pretty new. Yeah, it just came out this June, it says, and it's a free one as well. It kind of reminds me of that Caitlin Hunter one, the Tegna I think it is, with the pattern at the bottom. My biggest concern in a lot of these, and if you've seen my sweater knitting videos in the past, neckline, it always comes back to this giant neckline, and it's just not my favorite. And some patterns are easy to modify, like to sew it closed so it's not so gaping, but I always, even on patterns that don't look like they're wide neck, they often end up wide neck on me, just the way that they fit. And so yeah, that's definitely a major concern, but I do like the kind of lace pattern at the bottom. I think it would be really cute, but yeah, I think that neckline just kind of scares me off. And also because it's new, there's just not a lot of projects, because I like to go in then and see, like, on other people, does it have that gaping neckline? And yeah, there's nothing really to say. So I think that one's probably out at this point. This one here is Sarah by Sari Nordland. This is from last spring, March 2020, and I thought it looked really neat how it has the buttons that you can wear either at the back or the front. It says that it's, it doesn't actually, I don't think, show, no, it doesn't show any pictures of the plain side, which is, maybe a little more disappointing. I don't know if it's V-neck or what it looks like, but it says you can wear the buttons either way. Let's see what they have for projects. So, I mean, they're all kind of turning out the same. Oh, there's one at the front, or the side without the buttons. I think it'd be really neat, just something really different to make. I don't know how it would really look on me, or, all of these things. It's like, do you wear them just on their own? It's like a fancier top. I'm not really going anywhere where I need nicer tops, more just like an everyday sort of thing. But that's a potential. I think it's nice, and it's something different than just like a circular yoke like you do for a sweater that's just shorter into a top or short sleeved. Next up is Hawthorn Tea. This is the crochet one that I was looking at. It's another new design from June 2021. And I thought it looked really neat how there's just different ways that you're crocheting and picking up over the shoulders. I don't think I've ever crocheted a garment before, so that would be really cool to try. Let's see. Yeah, there's quite a few pictures, but I think that would be something just really fun and different. Definitely a little more like lacy on the top. You'd need something under it, like you would for most of these, but especially when it's pretty see-through. But again, not a lot of comments or projects at this point yet, so I do kind of like to look and see what it looks like on different bodies if possible, just to give a better picture of what it might be. Next up is Gemini by Jane Richmond, and this one, the main pictures by Jane look really nice, and I like how it fits and everything, but I see that she did include, see, look at that, I really like that detail on the shoulder, but this one here that was knit, looks like by Tannis Fiber Arts, look how wide that is. Yeah, I don't know. that's definitely cause for hesitation. Oh, it looks like 3,000 projects, so there's lots to look at for how it fits on others. I think I almost knit this one last year, and this was the reason why I didn't. A lot of people found it sat on their shoulders, like right on the edge, rather than more like a t-shirt. And since, again, that's a problem I regularly have, it's kind of concerning, and I don't know if I could fix it while I was knitting it. So that might stay on the back burner for now too. Next we have the Streamline Tank by Alexandra Tavel from August 2019. I thought this was neat too, with just some simple details, and I like how on simple items like this it doesn't take much to be like, oh, that's kind of different. I kind of like that. I like the split hem at the bottom. It's definitely a little more open at the top. It looks like it's a pretty deep V, and in the back I wonder if she has any... Okay, so it goes up to a 4X, which is nice. Sometimes when patterns get bigger, like this looks like she's probably wearing a smaller size, they get really big in the neckline, it seems, and especially something like this, I'd be worried that those straps would get really long when really larger sizes don't necessarily need longer straps. They just need it to fit differently. So I was just going to scroll through. These are just publicly posted pictures. I'm not sure people want them huge on YouTube, so I'm just going to click through. But if you have a Ravelry account, anybody can view these. But anyways, there's a few, looks like there's options of what people have made. So it would just take some looking through. But I feel like that's kind of a maybe. It would be nice to wear like under a cardigan or something like that. Okay, Fresh Berries by Universal Yarn. This is a DK weight. And let's see. Some of these, like it's cute with all these bright stripes. I don't think that's maybe how I would knit it, but it's interesting. The problem I kind of have is it looks like just a very basic raglan that's short sleeved, which I've made a lot of raglan tops before, which is fine, nothing wrong with it, but maybe like nothing special about it either. And DK weight, and some of these do look they look thicker than like a fingering weight, obviously, but it just looks like a short sweater rather than its own thing. Anyways, quite a few projects to check through. Next up, Linen Top by Samantha Statter. Sorry if I said that wrong. From March 2018. I know I looked at this one last year too. I almost made it, and I like the lace, but I also am a little worried that this would stretch and become like a big U shape at the bottom. I think this is the one I was looking at the projects for, and it's kind of similar to that Deshane top that a lot of people have made, but yeah, that big U in the front, I'm just not really a fan of. I can see like it's really pretty with that lace panel, but I think that I just don't like how that shape maybe looks when it's just such a narrow like cup at the bottom rather than a full across the front. Like I'm fine with a high-low hem or where it's fully meant to be curved. It kind of looks a little less intentional. Maybe that's nitpicky. Tell me if you agree. I don't know. Feels like something that would bother me once I wore it. Okay, what's this? Quetzal by Rachel Brockman. This is another new one from April 2021, a DK weight. Okay, so there's a bit of a pattern throughout. I don't remember looking at this one as much. Can't remember why. We are going to get into some of these rolled necklines, which this one might have some feelings on that. Let's see what some of the other pictures look like. I mean, it looks nice. Nothing too crazy. Looks like a really simple but, different kind of pattern on it, and it's not too deep in the front. Like this one looks like it's a pretty high neckline, which is, I like that not being too low. That one looks really nice. So yeah, this I feel like is a pretty good option if I had a good DK weight to use, and it goes up to a 5X, which is good. So that feels like a maybe. Okay, then we're getting into this one and the next one. To me are pretty similar. This one's called Stripe Tea for Unit Toronto. So you can buy it or there's a free version on the website. Let's look at these pictures. Pretty straightforward. I think it looks like kind of is it a circular? No, there's a raglan, I think, on this one. Oh yeah, definitely a raglan. Again, very basic, not much of a neckline. Well, the regular neckline, but no ribbing or anything. Just looks like maybe a rolled neckline on there. Let's see if it says. Yeah, I don't see for sure. Raglan shaping, yeah. Pretty basic, but could be a good starting point with some interesting yarns. Obviously this one's striped, but wouldn't have to be. And of course, lots of people are doing all sorts of variations. But see, look, some of these pictures, they have that wide neckline again, which again, I know some of that's just what size you knit. And I think part of my problem is knitting for my bust size rather than my shoulder size. And so if I go up, then it makes the neckline wider, even though I don't need it wider. So one thing I can do, and I've mentioned this in the past, is to cast on a smaller size and then increase to a larger size. And that does help. But again, I just like to see how it looks on other people, and sometimes that gives a better indication of what it might look like in the end. This next is that similar one, Perfect Knit T-shirt by Caitlin Bartwold. This is from this spring, a DK weight, and it's another one you can buy or use the blog post for a free version. And see, it's this kind of the same with the raglan shaping and this maybe rolled neckline, I think. Now, some yarns I think look really good in the rolled neckline, and some of them just don't look as good. And I think maybe, is it the cottons that don't seem to roll as nicely, and the wools sometimes roll too much, and it's just a little bit tricky to get them to look right. And when they do, like in these model shots, they look great, but it's just always in the back of my head that sometimes it doesn't lay quite as well. Like in some of these, you can see, there's not that there's anything wrong, I'm not criticizing them, but just it looks different in different yarns. And that's just something to kind of keep in mind, and to choose the right yarn really does make a big difference on something like this. Okay, these last two are the ones that I have purchased the pattern for, and so Mysterium Tea, I made this once. Honestly, with my Hawthorn Coast, I didn't end up loving it too much. I felt like around the neckline, again with that rolled neckline, it all wanted to kind of roll. It was very thin. I should have made it a little longer. It just didn't hit all the boxes, but I'd be open to making it again with a different yarn, making it longer, and if with a different yarn, like the one I used, the Hawthorn Coast, is light fingering. This calls for fingering, and I think that may have played into it. Something with like a little more structure might have worked better, and it might have kept the neckline looking better. So, I mean, I'd be open to doing it again, but that's just one consideration. And the other one is Bloom by Becca Knits. I got this one, it was free when it first was posted, like a lot of patterns on Ravelry. So I got it then, and I almost knit it last summer, and I even had a yarn picked out, but I didn't end up buying it. But it's this kind of lacy look where you'd obviously be wearing something under it, but I thought it was just something a little bit different, more solid on the back. But I liked how it was a t-shirt, and it kind of had a, I don't know, there's just something I really liked about it. A little more substantial than just some of the tank tops, but yeah, I thought it looked like it might be a fun one to knit. So that's definitely in the running here as well for what I personally would like to do, and maybe you're interested in it as well. But it just seems to look nice on a variety of different sizes, and there's lots of different ways you could kind of knit it. So this is my roundup of summer tops that I'm looking at this spring / summer. I guess we're in summer now. Are there any that I should consider that I haven't looked at yet? Please let me know. I feel like I'm kind of out of the loop on new knitting patterns. I've just been browsing Ravelry and browsing Instagram, but definitely open to hearing more if you have some more suggestions. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Let me know any input or suggestions. I really like the back and forth. You can contact me here in the comments or by email or on Instagram, and I definitely would love to chat about it. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye!